Tough game, tough year, long, hard year. The team tried hard today. They strained. Nobody quit. Everybody fought. You look at the guys in the locker room hugging and crying, and you can just see how in love with each other they are, and the coaches with the players and the players with the coaches. So it's a long, it was a long, hard year. Expectations were spectacularly high, and obviously performance and production was spectacularly low. The minute I step away from this podium, I'm going to get started on 17. And just as I and the team turned it into a bowl team in year 2, we're going to get back to it. And this team will become and be and live up to the expectations that, you know, the awesome group that came to the stadium today and we're on Husky Walk. The UConn Nation that was here and cheering hard for the guys and the coaches and on the walk and tapping everybody's hand. They're gonna get a team that they deserve. That work begins, like I said, as soon as I step away from this podium and begin. Definitely did. I didn't intend to say the word easy on the fix. I meant to say isolated. That it's kind of easy identifiable. It's easily identified. There's just talking. You say so many things so much. It's isolated. There's a lot of there's not a rebuild. There's not a rebuild that needs to happen. There's a lot of things that were very hard to build, that have been built, that have not broken. And all of it sounds like just stuff right now after a miserable year, and I understand that and respect it. But it doesn't make it any less true. We need to get better at executing in games in the 3 phases, and we will. Questions?
Obviously, an emotional night for your seniors here,
yes.
And when you guys were taking the field, I could see, an overwhelming sense of pride, coming from you. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what it was like to coach these men and seeing them taking the field for the last time.
I can. It was an incredible honor, and that's what. That's what hurts. I love them. And it reciprocates back. And they're good men. And they have to use this experience, 2016, and all of its suffering and misery for their benefit, and they will. And when adversity strikes them, as it will, like life does, in 15 years with something with a corporation or their work or their family, they'll know how to respond. And that's what we talked about. And I'll always be there for them, every one of them. And I just feel terrible that the year went the way that it did.
Bob, how quickly can you make the most significant changes you need to make and let the public know exactly what they are and kind of the direction you're going to be going in?
Yeah, that's a good question. As it relates to the communication to the public. So I can't answer that. When you think about all the little things that are going to need to be done here and how many other pieces are involved. I promise you this, though, and I promise you this as conduits to the people that love the program. We'll get the information to you as soon as I possibly can. I'm not going to, we're not going to, like I said, I don't read it, but I know you guys are doing the best that you can. It's been a miserable year, so hard to write anything that doesn't sound like misery, right? But I do respect that, and when I have information or we've made things that impact this team that so many people care about, I'll let you guys know for sure.
Did you see some improvement on the offense able to get on the board?
I did. I felt the question was about the offense, and improvement. And you know, we wanted to target obviously Arkell and Noel, and that was accomplished. Both had, you know, really strong days, and Noel a career. You know, I think he had 100 catches this year, and Donovan looked better. So, and no one's even seen anything close to his real traits. I mean, he is something else. So. He got better from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and he looked better tonight than he did in the previous 2 games. So I definitely saw some better play, and everybody played hard. Obviously, on offense, things are going to change. So
Not always good when a safety gets 24 tackles, because it means that he's getting more involved than he should, but just address the game and the season that Obie had for you.
yeah, Obie, as I said from the beginning when we met for the first time in August, I think I said Obie's the very best safety in America, and I think he proved that this year in the games. He's definitely going to prove it in his gym shorts and compression shirt and cleats. That's for sure. But I felt like he put it on the line in the games and performed at that level as it relates to safeties in America. He's a great player, and his best football's out in front of him. He's really kind of raw and new in the game and new to safety. I think that even he will. When you talk to him, I think he'll say this. The mentoring from Anthony Poindexter, who's a college football Hall of Fame ballot candidate, 2-time consensus All-American, safety. He had an opportunity to mentor him and turn his game really 180 degrees around. And Obie just flourished under his tutelage and had a beautiful career and really a spectacular year.
Coach, you were as close to 4-0, at one point. Were you even stunned yourself at how it kind of started to go the other way and kind of slipped, and how it really could be resurrected?
To say no to that would be a lie. There's a point where you're like, this must be a dream, or a nightmare, not a good dream. Nobody wants to hear it, so it's hard to just keep, to answer the question. And I realize that, and I'm cognizant of it. But we were so much better. We were so much better than we were in 15, entering 16. It's incredible. And then it was just like this string of horrible circumstances, and they all played on the year. And an incredibly challenging schedule.
Do you fully expect to be back next year? I mean, is there any wavering that, near, I know it's silly fan rumors and whatnot.
You're talking about job-wise?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, no doubt. I have a contract until 2021. So unless my calendar's wrong, it's 2016. There's a spectacular amount of work that needed to be done that we're doing. We're in year 3. You're asking me about me specifically. I'm in year 3. This is a big undertaking that we've made a lot of ground with. It definitely, from a record standpoint, which, as you pointed out a minute ago, no one was expecting. Slid back, but we got the team back to a bowl in year 2, and ahead of schedule, and there's a lot of things that have been fixed, a lot of things to continue now, to be able to not have to rebuild, that are already done and built, and the foundation there is laid. We got to get better at playing football, and we will. And that fix, it's kind of why, that word kind of came out, the word, easy, but obviously I didn't intend it to, it's not going to be easy. But it's isolated, and we clearly know it and see it. So we're going to be able to fix it. This is going to be fixed, and I fully intend to be diligent in that process here. Like I said, as soon as I step away from this podium, I'm going to go full blast.
Do you need to look back on how and why and when the season veered off course, or is that part of, have you already done that part of the analysis and you're ready to move on to?
Yeah, I think that, that's been so detailed and looked at and inspected. But to talk about it collectively, create a timeline, identify some characteristics, and then try to train another layer of training to try to eliminate the possibility of that happening again and those instances happening again.
You talked a lot of in the middle of the season about Northeast football and your overall philosophy, and I kind of asked you then, saying that that it had success in 2005 in Big East schools, but there seems to be a lot of cheap points out there in college football now. Has your view, now that you've been through this, changed some as you look forward to changing the offense, for that you just need points, cheap points, and that you can't overall manage a game quite like maybe you thought you could a year or so ago?
You know what, Jeff? I think that I still believe up here, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to run the ball, and you got to be able to control a game with a rushing attack. What exactly that rushing attack? You saw a rushing attack here with spread triple option. You watch Navy, they're true triple option. You watch some pro-style teams that are running, some gapping plays over and over again, or even spread teams that are four open that have proficient rushing attack. So there's a lot of ways to run the ball, but speaking about that, I do believe you need to be able to run the ball to win and have a real championship team. One exciting piece is that the quarterback doesn't have limitations. He's big and fast with a super strong arm, and he's smart. He's a leader. So I'm excited to see, where we go from here as it relates to moving the ball and scoring points. And you're right. If you're not up with the times on how these rules have changed, then you're not utilizing all the resources that are to your advantage. All these clock opportunities now that you're allowed. How fast you can move or not move. The ability to have your players run off the line of scrimmage and still throw the ball down the field. There's a lot of little nuances and stuff that's changed that you can take advantage of on offense, and you really need to do that, and why wouldn't you? So yes, you're on it, and there is also some other pieces like Northeast football, the guys that we can recruit here, and the fact that you need to be able to run the ball.
You redshirt a lot of your freshman offensive players, and I see Nino Leon, and I see DeGeorge on the second team, and
Yes.
you're talking about Skanes, and you have two running backs. Just your thoughts on what they're going to be able to bring to maybe get some juice to your offense.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you asked the question. And you think about we honored 18 seniors, which is fantastic, and however many 5 or 6. We're in-game players. So when you think about the team and the time we've spent and reps we've poured on guys that will be returning for 2017, it's pretty incredible. It's a pretty incredible list of guys. You think about Carazola, Junior Joseph, E.J. Levenberry, Jamar Summers, Bryce McAllister, Foley Fatukasi, Cole Ormsby, however many reps, spectacular amount of reps Murphy's played. Trey Bell gets activated here and eligible as he was a starting player at Vandy, who's done a fantastic job on the look teams all year. And that's just on defense. And then you flip over to the other side, Tommy Meyer, who needs to get more involved be more involved in the game. He's a talent. Alec Bloom, same thing. And I can keep going on and on. Crozier, Hopkins, Rutherford, Veshery. These guys have thousands of plays in games. And then you add, like you said, Nino Leone, you add Keith Dixon, you add Q as real weapons onto that offense to go along with Donovan and company. And it doesn't feel like it. But as it relates to players, the future's super bright. As it relates to our culture and our program, the strength of the mind, body, and soul, that is strong and the future's bright. The defense, the ST, that's clearly understood with great depth and detail. And there have been moments this year where production was down, but it didn't persist. We can change calls and shut things off. I mean, there's real opportunity there. The offense will get fixed. It will produce. It will serve these players, and it will serve our UConn Nation supporters.
Was EJ hurt today? I'm sorry.
Come again?
Was EJ hurt today? He didn't play quite a bit. I don't know if he...
EJ Lemonberry? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was.
Do you envision?
He was not going to be able to function at the level that he wanted to function. It's not anything. It'd be a day-to-day.
If there were, yeah.
A day-to-day, yeah.
Do you envision any of your?
I'm not. Okay.
Do you envision any of the juniors contemplating taking a year to go to the NFL, or you think all the juniors will be back next year? You have some pro prospects.
I would imagine that everybody that you would think. I'm hopeful that every single player that has remaining eligibility to serve the University of Connecticut in football will stay and do that. So I'm hopeful that happens. Thank you. Thank you for your class and character and integrity for the year. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.